Light and peace, peace and light, brothers and sisters. Topic of discussion today is harvest of the gods. So one of the primary duty of a god is to um, get an harvest to Etheria. I'm talking about true God now. Now, even if that God was assigned to the lower heaven, now Creator's plan, right? So that's the harvest. Now, along the line, a lot of angels over time, after going through first and second resurrection, and they started backsliding, becoming fallen angels or falsehood gods, they also have an harvest. Or he captures this and clearly says, until they have washed clean all the humans and angels that they've deceived. In other words, if a God tells me that if I pray to him, he will give me money, then when I die and go to heaven, I'm his harvest. I'm that God's harvest because he has deceived me. So there are a bunch of examples, right? So if a God tells you that when you die, you're going to come back, you're going to be reborn again as form of reincarnation, uh, that's deceiving. So that God has deceived you, right? So that harvest belongs to that God. Now, one of the things that OahspeCollegeUniversity captured clearly without sugarcoating is that it clearly explains that those gods and those religion god or the pagan gods will never be drafted to Etheria. They will never go to Etheria. They will remain the lowest they will be in is first resurrection, and the highest they will rise to is second heaven, second resurrection heaven. And until all the people they've harvested, okay, all the people that they've deceived and harvested has risen to Etheria before they now have the opportunity to now go to Etheria. You see the judgment of the Creator? And these are the things a lot of people are missing. So I'm gonna go to the book of Is. OahspeCollegeUniversity captured a very lengthy verses about this. Okay, let's go to. So the book of Is, chapter 17, verses 28, all the way down to 40. And you can read this on your own, but this is very, very interesting. Yet then the judgment of Jehovah, whoever has established the name of any God, but the Creator made it worshipable on earth or in heaven, shall be bound in first resurrection, till that name is no longer worshipable on earth or in heaven. A perfect example is Jesus, Yeshua, Osiris. You still got people who still do that, right? Verse 29. And whatever God or goddess has said, come to me, you who are heavily laden, and I will give you rest, for I am the way of salvation. You see that? Light and everlasting light. Then that God or goddess shall be bound in first resurrection. As long as mortals or angels go to him or her. You see that? Now, verse 29 is also interesting because in remote villages in Africa, they I have people who actually believe that a tree is a god. But whoever is behind that tree, forcing to be a god, is bound in first resurrection and second resurrection. So that God will never, never rise to Etheria. Etheria is the highest realm. Verse 30. Behold, as such a God called, and they answer to him, so do I give to both the gods who calls and the subject who runs to him. You see the judgment of the Creator? The Creator has provided, gives provision to what we do. It's no days basically saying what you sow, you reap, right? Now, verse 31 is very, very, very interesting. I want you to listen to this verse 31. But when a subject goes to a God and says, behold, you have said, where I go, I will call on all men to me. I believe in you, then that God shall not put him away. I'm going to pause for a minute. We got to read this one more time. But when a subject goes to a God and say, behold, you have said, where I go, I will call on all men to me, and I believe in you, then that God shall be put away. A perfect example of this, and it's still ongoing, is this pastors and preachers that use the name, they call upon the Holy Spirit. Okay? So they use the Holy Spirit to get humans. So this verse 31 applies to those people. And the God who created the Holy Spirit, right? The others will be given. And the judgment is that that God behind the Holy Spirit cannot put those humans away and the angels away. You see that? Now, another example is that imagine in a remote village. So for those who don't know, I'm originally from Nigeria. And there are instances in Nigeria where they will discover that a shrine or a particular area in the village, they do spirit communication. They invoke spirits. Now imagine that those people in that area, they had people come in there and they destroy that tree that was posing as a god or a spirit in that shrine, right? Listen to this. This is very important. And they destroyed it. Now, years later, some people knew about that, right? But guess what? They went to that particular area believing that the spirit is still there, which is true. And we have instances of this in the state of America, in the state of Arizona, you know, where people believe that the vortex energy still exists, right? And people go there to absorb the energy to promote health. Okay. Now, those humans that actually go to this remote area where they have destroyed where they originally had destroyed the shrine, right? And a human come there and call upon the name of a spirit or call on the spirit because they heard about the story. This verse 31 here is saying the God behind the shrine, the God behind that vortex portal in Arizona will not put those humans away. This is what verse 31 is saying. Okay? It's interesting, right? But I find this, harvest, and the harvest goes to the God. So, the more you worship this gods that is not the creator, the harvest goes to you, right? Now, this verse 31 also pertains to Osiris. You have a lot of humans still going to Egypt. They go to Inside, they go all the way down to the tombs. And they say they want to feel the energy of Osiris. They can feel Osiris. You hear them saying, I feel Osiris coming down upon me. I can, Osiris cannot put them away. That's what verse 31 is saying. You see, you have a lot of people, they pay lots of money, millions of money to go to Egypt today, just because they want to go sense, feel, invoke Osiris. Verse 31 is saying that God cannot put those humans away, right? Now, that's interesting to me. Now, verse 32, interesting, verse 32. While Osiris was worshipped, I give to Osiris. You see that? You see that? While Osiris is being worshipped, they give to Osiris. There you go, right there, right? Now, verse 33. While Ashtaroth was worshipped, I gave to her, right? That's verse 33. Now, some people still believe in Ashtaroth. A perfect example is that Ashtaroth today, some people still believe she's the goddess of fertility. You still have some people who call upon Ashtaroth to give them children. Not only that, if you have not carefully read Ohapsi, Osiris had used Ashtaroth to act like Isis. Okay, that's the decoder for you. So, and it plays in two parts. You have to read Ohapsi to get that. At one point, Ashtaroth did pose as Isis also. So some people still worship Isis. Verse 34. Verse 34 is the interesting one. While Baal was worshipped, I gave to Baal. Verse 35. Now, for Baal, let me just explain this. Jews, Hebrew Israelites of today are still in a way worshiping Baal. Now, let's talk about Osiris and Ashtaroth and Baal, right? They were present when the book of Genesis was provided, right? Now, millions of people, doesn't have to be a Christian, they still believe on the 6-day creation story. They're bound to that story. And they still believe that, the creator created humans, plants, the heavens and earth in 6 days. And they believe God, the creator, rested. Osiris, Ashtaroth, Baal was present. And these three people, including Christ, which happens to be the Christian God, gave the story. If you open your King James Bible, if you open your Tanakh, if you open your Ethiopian Bible, this story, Genesis story, still exists today, right? So they're still bound. So the harvest is still going to be given to them. As long as we humans or angels still believe in that 6-day creation story, believe it or not, this book of Age, chapter 17, is clearly saying that those harvest goes to these fallen angels. It goes to all these gods, Baal, Ashtaroth, Osiris, Brahma, Buddha, Christ, Mohammedans. Of course, that would be, those who follow the Quran, right? So verse 36, verse 35. But when any of these gods were no longer worshipped, behold, I gave them no more subjects. You see that? So if they've no longer been worshipped, then they will not get the subjects no more. In other words, they will not get the harvest. Verse 36, as long as Brahma is worshipped, I will give to him who is before me. Verse 37, as long as Buddha is worshipped, I'll give to him who is before me. As long as Christ, this verse 38 here, this is critical. Christ, is still being worshipped. Verse 39, still being worshipped. People still follow the Islamic belief system today. You see? So this two, yeah, especially verse 38, forget about it. This verse 30, this year, oh, Christ, the Christian God has the highest harvest right now, and we continue to have that harvest. Verse 40, but verse 40, and when all of you have purified and raised up, you see that? When all of you, you see that? You see that? That's interesting. Very interesting. Let's read that again, verse 40. And when all of you have purified and raised up all those who idolize you, that is when I will raise you up to the higher heavens also. You see that? You see the justice of the Creator? This is interesting. I love this book of is fantastic. I love the book of Is because just reading that book of Is, chapter 17, clearly tells you that the religion today that we have now, another interesting stuff about this religion is that the Christian God, when he was judged, including in fact, all those gods, when they got judged, by the time they came back to their heaven, other people, other angels already left, and they went to create other, uh, they went to create their own heavenly kingdom. And now using the name of Christ, pretending to be Christ. Okay? A lot of people pretending to be Buddha. Some people pretending to be Bob. This is crazy. And in the year 2024, this is still ongoing. So the point of this video today is to expose and explain that even though these fallen angels have this religion, because some people they have their harvest, the harvest still goes to them. In other words, when these humans who follow this religion and have this belief system and follow them, they're going to be drafted to their heaven. And it is the responsibility of these gods to educate, to make provision, to allow those angels, spirits, to be drafted to Ethereum. It is their responsibility. You see that? Now that's now you didn't see the Creator saying anything about killing or putting humans. If you look at the judgment of the Creator, there's nothing mentioned there about the Creator saying that He gonna put them in hellfire, that we're gonna be in hellfire for everlasting life, blah 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 blah. You see that? But what the Creator did is that I give to you what you've created. You see? It's interesting. And when you read the OahspeC, you get a peace of mind because it connects the dot. OahspeC is a decoder. It helps you explain things that your soul has been yearning for, been wanting to know. So once you start knowing that, you become fearless. You even though if you're to die tomorrow, having faith in the Creator alone is enough. Yeah, but of course, you got to get drafted. You have to follow the educational system, the first resurrection, the second resurrection, then you become a bride and bridegroom. Subscribe to my YouTube video. I have prepared a lot of videos expounding and explaining this without sugarcoating. The OahspeCollegeUniversity has dedicated itself to provide solution to yesterday's ancient knowledge. Light and peace, brothers and sisters. Bye-bye now.